What is up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be spectating random players in Fortnite Zero build, going over what I think they do well, what they could do differently, and just the state of the game right now. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you would like to see more. If you guys would like to use my code in the shop when getting anything, it is EvolvedJake, just like my channel name is, and it is underneath the webcam at all times. So I had hoped... Here, we'll land on this guy, I guess. I was going to say I was hoping Dark Domain... or Dominion, whatever it's called, was gonna have people, but it didn't really seem like very many people were landing there, so we will land on this Jules, who has a crown as well. So they did win their last match. Squibbly has a good amount of people going here, seemingly, but it's not like the most hot thing of all time. Thank you. We're gonna be on board with Par here. He gets a gold or gray pump, and then immediately sends me into Spectator, which I very much appreciate. Sounds like there's, like I said, a good amount of players landing here. He's able to get a little bit of loot and shield. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like he got any vendetta floppers from the fish here, which would be really beneficial. This is a bot. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a bot. Maybe not, actually. I'm very confused with this person. The way they were just shooting the pump across the way seemed like a drone, but I did not know they punched. What I was going to say was, with the fish that you can find naturally at this POI, not only is it really good for getting health right away, but it's also really good because the vendetta floppers will mark anybody, you know, close enough to you to be within range when you use it. And that's really helpful in these off-spawn fights for finding the players that kind of landed around you and quickly getting them out of the game. Because off-spawn, a lot of times you'll have to deal with, like, third parties because everybody landed in the same area. So being able to scan the area and know that, like, you're safe to fight the person close to you, not only do you know where that person is and you have an advantage in that fight, but also potentially know where the third parties are, which would make it easier for you to know if you should fight or not. But this player didn't get any of those vendetta floppers, and they're going to quickly get sent back to the game. Oh, this is a content creator. I've seen them on TikTok. I don't know how to say their name. I'm terrible at reading names. I think it's Bifilus, but again, I'm terrible at reading names. But he's a very good player. I run into him pretty consistently, and so this should be a good game to watch. He landed at the gas station nearby, and a lot of the gas stations like that are pretty solid landing spots to third party another area, because you see he got a solid amount of loot there. He probably didn't really have to fight anybody, and there's also a slurp truck for him to immediately get full shield, and then he can, you know, drive over here and third party the people at Squibbly. More fighting off in front of him that may or may not be real. And then there also is a 0-point shard in this area that he can use to leave once he gets this kill, if he wants to. The Zadie boss is nearby as well, so he could potentially go for that to get the mythic pistol, the mythic revolver. It is very good, but it doesn't really fit how I want to play the game most of the time, because I typically only want to carry 2 weapons to have room for extra mobility, heals, stuff like that. And I imagine this player is going to do the same. Oh no, that's unfortunate. This is why I don't like splashes as much this season. He'll probably get to use them. But if he had something like pizza, he could eat them while in air there. Whereas with the splashes, you can't really use them while in air. Enemy is pushing. Unfortunately, misses his pump shot. Okay, finally gets the kill. Pushes with the right shoulder peek and gets the elimination. A lot of people there probably would have left after the... I don't know her name. Louve pushes her. Once the player pushed up to the second bunker, they probably would have wanted to leave there, but I don't mind fighting that. He knows that player should be weak because he was just fighting them. It's just the way the fight initially went was so weird. Where he, like, beamed them and then tried to bunker, and then, like, he ended up getting uppercutted under the bunker. I feel like that was not what he wanted to do. You see, a lot of times he likes just hitting the uppercut and then hitting a pump shot while falling. We've seen him do that, like, several times now. Was a good reset, though. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of splashes with the way the game currently plays. I really feel like anytime I'm, like, weak and needing to heal, I'm probably using mobility and I'm in the air. And so for that reason, I like having things like the chug jug, pizza, things that I can use while in air and while being mobile. But still, the way he reset that fight, immediately, you know, got back to a new area, threw a new bunker, and then healed and also played for the fight. A lot of times what you see in Zero Build, and one of the biggest frustrating or weird things to play against, is people that are running to run and not, like, running to reset a fight. If a fight isn't going your way, sure, you don't want to just sit there and, you know, get eliminated for free. But also, if you just run away and never look or never create a situation where you can defend yourself, then you're probably just going to slowly lose. He can get a splash off here. Unfortunately, he goes for a bounty, and this player is just on the board, which is one of the more annoying things that can happen. We did hear that player as he walked up, though. He sends his player to the stratosphere because they had overdrive naded up. Not the greatest damage. I would probably want to get away from this if I was him. And so this would be like a situation where running to run would maybe make sense. There's not a... Okay. I was going to say the danger isn't imminent. He has no heals, and he's not really that healthy. So he could do something like glove over towards that 0-point shard and then just, you know, play the game out and go get heals or something. He could also drop down to the bounty board and buy heals there. But the way this fight is going, I don't really like. It could be hard on Spectator, I guess, because we don't see the damage numbers. But I didn't think he had done very much damage to this player. My guess was that this player had him weaker than he had that player. And so just sticking around in this type of fight, really long range like this, I isn't something I would really want to do. And both of these players just run the risk of getting third-partied. The bot over there. His cover is about to get destroyed. But anybody that walks up behind either of these players is going to have an easy time third-partying. Unfortunately, misses his shotgun shot. I think he hit him there, but probably not very much. Again, gonna uppercut shotgun. Takes probably a lot more damage than he's done, and I think this is probably gonna be the... Okay, GG's. I was gonna say I think this is gonna be the end of the fight for him. The person he eliminated is also a streamer, and they're a very good player. So that's like a situation where spectating is awkward, I think. My guess is that he had them weaker than we thought. Off the initial, or weaker than I thought off the initial exchange. But like the no damage numbers can make it kind of weird sometimes. Ew, the twin mag. Gets more bunkers. I think that's good for him. I think he likes having the bunkers based on how he played the earlier fight versus the festival skin. This is just a bot, so you can just kill them for free. One thing about the uppercut pump, though, is that the Chaos Shotgun doesn't have the most range, so I feel like a lot of times when he goes for that, he ends up, I would assume, not hitting the opponent for a lot of damage with the shotgun. Like, I like uppercutting and then shooting them while we're both in the air, but if you just uppercut up and shoot down, you can hit them for an okay amount of damage. But with the Chaos Reloader, you don't want, like, an okay amount of damage. You know, you want to hit hard because you only have that one shot. And that's one of the reasons I really like having the Thunderburst, because the Thunderburst, like perfectly accurate hipfire and range, I feel like works really well for that uppercut play where you go up and shoot down. You can absolutely melt people with the Thunderburst hipfire in that situation. Be able to heal this car, and I would assume buy some heals at this vending machine. The middle vending machine may have a chug jug, and that would be really nice, but also big pots would be helpful. He's not full health, so getting anything would really help him out. I might be worried to use the vending machine, though, if I was him, because he went into the bounty board and then immediately got shot last time. We'll see. Okay, he gets bigs. And there's a man on the hill shooting the car. They're shooting the gas station as well. It's about to blow up. His gloves are also really low. So this fight stinks, I think. Like, you're not going to get the kill shooting across the way like that. And then he also doesn't really have mobility to push it. And so I think just leaving would be the best thing he could do. His gloves only have 5 uses. There's maybe fighting on that hill. I can't tell, but there's more shots going on. Nice, now he has overdrive nades. That's helpful. I was just worried about his gloves, because if he tried to glove over there and push that person with only 5 uses, that being his only mobility is pretty sad. So this is a situation, again, where the damage numbers really matter. Shooting at this, probably more risk than there is to gain, because you potentially get shot in the back while you're focused on this guy. But if you had just hit that guy for white and you know they're weak, I would maybe be a little more attached to getting that kill, you know? Like, I love shooting people out of the air, don't get me wrong. But if I'd hit that guy, like, blue twice, probably gonna let him go. 7 opponents remaining. I think he's going to go up to this hill and get a bounty. The gold fishing spot. More bunkers, barrels. I'm not sure why he bought so few big pots. Because he had 3,000 gold. But it might have just been like a mistake, like he meant to buy more. Or maybe he intends to not carry bigs and didn't want to waste the gold on it. But at this point in the game, there's not much for him to spend gold on anyways. It's high rarity loot already. The only thing that you really would buy is heals. There's pizza, that's huge. We'll see. I'm interested to see if he carries the slices or just the pizza itself. Because I very much prefer to carry the slices. Okay. There's somebody fishing nearby him. So we'll probably watch this fight with him catching this player off guard that's fishing. Unfortunately, he would have to break the window to mantle that. Maybe we have time. But the reason I really like carrying the slices instead of the whole pizza is the speed at which you use it. This is going to be a free kill ultimate. Not an AI, but I thought they were an AI. I don't know why I thought they were an AI. I don't think the AI fish with harpoon, but there's so many bots in the game that when I see just a person very lost like that. This should be a kill. He's getting shot in the back, kinda, but... Nice. Okay. Easy cleanup there. Just the initial damage he got was hard for that player to deal with. And again, that was somebody that was kind of just running to run and not running to reset the fight. They probably needed to get down to this hill and try to hit shots on him as he pushed. But that would also be a time where pizza is incredibly good to have. An example of why I prefer to carry the slices. So when you carry just the slices, you get far less heal out of the slot than if you were to carry the whole pizza, right? But a lot of times when you're going to be needing to heal is going to be a situation where you probably got beamed and then you're trying to reset a fight. And in that situation, if you have the box in your inventory, you can't gain any amount of health until, you know, after you've landed, you throw the box down and then you try to eat slices. Where when you have the slices in your inventory already, you can overdrive nade and then hit 2 or 3 slices while you're in the air easily. And so it makes it the best healing item for kind of those reset situations. But also, if you're in a fight and healing, you know, you can just quickly swap to the slice and eat it. Whereas if you have to swap to the pizza, throw the pizza down, and then look at the ground and then eat the slices, like, you're setting yourself up for a much harder time to deal with the fight. And, like, the pizza is the best fighting mobility or fighting healing item because of how fast it is to use and how much it heals. And I just think that carrying the slices is far better than the entire pizza. And the player that he was chasing that he had weak, if they had pizza slices in their inventory, they could have healed up a bit before he pushed them. But if they were carrying the whole pizza and then tried to throw it down, they probably would have been dead looking at the ground as he got there. Just that little bit of time matters so much in these moments. And that is why the slices are so much better to carry. He went to the Shredder shotgun. I do not like the Shredder shotgun at all, but I think it makes sense with how he's been playing. So I talked earlier about how he's going for the uppercut shotgun shot a lot. And with the chaos, the range isn't the greatest. And so I don't know if he was hitting very hard in those moments. But the Shredder, that is what it's perfect for. So it kind of makes sense that he maybe prefers a Shredder based on what we were seeing throughout the course of the game. Like, I think that playstyle, even though I don't prefer the Shredder, if that's going to be a move you go for often, the Shredder is probably going to be more ideal. But it's just not a very raw shotgun. Also, with this zone, it would have been very nice to go and get dashes. So he could still go get dashes, but anytime you're in this area, going to get those dashes will give you a huge advantage in fights, and a lot of players will be getting them. And I feel like one of the best counters to dashes is to have dashes yourself. If somebody dashes to break your camera, then you can dash again to like kind of reset that or negate the fact that your camera's broken, or maybe just break theirs. Dashes are rough to play against, especially this season because there's so few of them on the map. And so anytime the desert is in zone, I want to get them. And if you're landing in the desert area, you should definitely be getting them. This Peggy Hill is a streamer. So as you're watching this, those skins might be out. But I'm recording this when the Peggy Hill skin hasn't actually came out yet. It hasn't been in the shop. It will be coming to the shop later tonight as of the time I'm recording this. So they just got the kill up here. But this should be a good player. Unfortunately, trying to like third party that fight was a little awkward for him. It's like hard to push this rock. They're teabagging over there. He gets good shots on Peggy. He's going to drop low and then glove. That way he's in the air for less time and less likely to get beamed. Like, that's something so little. But if he gloved at his height, he would have been, like, more floaty. And it would have been more possible for this person to hit shots on him and turn the fight. They hit a good shotgun shot as well. Nice. That's, like, a situation where the Shredder is better than any other shotgun. He resets the fight. So look at his health. Instantly back to full health because he had the slices. If he throws the pizza down, takes a little bit longer. This is a situation where maybe it would have not been as big of a deal. I thought he was going to eat the slices and then immediately drop on the guy. He thinks they're in this building. I don't really know where they went. I kind of was worried they went into that bush. He seems very convinced they're in this building. They might have gone to this pizza shop here because there's a pizza down there that they could eat. Get these fresh gloves. Yeah, they went to the pizza shop. And now they've completely healed off that pizza. And so now the Peggy Hill has the pressure. And this guy needs to probably just get away if he can. Luckily, there's 4 splashes there, so he's going to be able to full heal. We don't know where Peggy went, though. I would want to get to, like, these trees or that rock behind him and then just look towards Peggy. Okay, she's chalking on him. Unfortunately, misses. I would assume this Peggy Hill is full health at this point because she had ample time at that pizza to eat and pick up slices. But maybe the pizza was already taken and so she didn't get as much. He's not going to be able to get dashes because of the situations that's been happening. And so we'll see if the final player has dashes to take advantage of. It is a 1v1v1, so it'll probably come down to either this player or that Peggy. Both of them are content creators. There's actually been a few in this lobby. He's just going to look to hold them, probably. He seems to think they're back here. He might have gotten... Yeah, okay. They are. I was going to say, he might have gotten visual audio while he was passing through that area that we just didn't really see. Getting shot in the back. But those shots may or may not be real. I would still be most concerned about this Peggy Hill here. We have the information that they're probably a content creator because they got the skin early. But also, the way the fight has been going, they're clearly, you know, a decent, solid player at the very least. And so if I was in this fight, I would be most concerned about them still. And I think that's what he is. He protected himself from those shots, but he's still clearly most concerned about the Peggy Hill. And this fight will probably come down to just who gets shots on who. They probably have to move before him. Unfortunately, the timing was missed. I think the other player is on the hill over here. I could be wrong, though. Oh, no. They're to the left behind the rock. Now he's lost sight of the Peggy Hill, too. She could kind of be anywhere. Like, we saw her go that direction, but who knows after that. And that final player over there is real. They have a hired AI. So in a 1v1v1 like this, you really just don't want to be involved in a fight that's, like, a hard commit. You, like, at this point in time, you want to just be most concerned about getting to zone safely. Because even if he kills that player in front of him there, the Peggy Hill just third parties. And if he hard commits to fighting the Peggy Hill, that guy just third parties. And so it becomes like a weird game of somewhat cat and mouse where just nobody wants to fight. And then the first people that do fight probably get third partied. And so if you are going to fight in this situation, you want it to be something that doesn't take a lot of commitment. Like in this bush would be good. And then the moment you start fighting, you want to keep your eyes peeled for the third party. So like, let's say the player was to his left and they kind of exchanged some shots, but nothing really to commit to. At that point, I would immediately be looking one of the other directions for that Peggy Hill. It's probably a shot on him. The other player's like directly under him. I just heard their NPC make noise. They have the hope NPC to be invisible. Zone pulled kind of far. They have the Infinity Blade as well. This is bad. You don't want to be fighting this. Because this player is going to take a while to fight. Okay, he gets to kill somewhat cleanly. Okay, I was going to say that Peggy Hill should have been here already. And Peggy hits her Chaos shot. And that's part of why I think the Chaos is a lot better than the Shredder. Like, again, we don't see damage numbers. But the way that fight played out was just something that was much better for the Shredder. That's kind of unfortunate for him, though. The 1v1v1 and the other player just kind of comes and stands under him. And so what does he do there? You know, he can fight that player, defend himself before they shoot him in the back, or he can just try to leave. But if he tries to leave, maybe the Peggy Hill shoots him. It was a weird situation. I was hoping he was going to shoot at the Infinity Blade player and then just like leave in hopes that the Peggy Hill would rush to it and then like maybe they would start fighting. But a rough situation, and a lot of those situations just come down to timing and come down to timing based on what other people do. And that isn't really something you can control. But I think that Peggy Hill did a good job of just like isolating herself away from them. And even though they didn't third party the fastest, they still got there and they were able to clean up that fight. But that is going to be it for this video. As always, if you guys did find this to be helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you would like to see more. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.